vehicle has been in a flood, normally you can tell by the water lines in it. There'll be water lines up inside of the vehicle in the interior. A lot of times there'll be a smell to it. The carpet will have a nice smell to it, pungent smell. A lot of times the corrosion on the wires, definitely when you check underneath the hood, be corrosion on wires. Or you can check the oil. A lot of times there'll be water mixed in with the oil. And you can run scans on the vehicle as well. A lot of times the codes that will pop up on there, they'll let you know that there's been a flood as well.
And so you pretty much answered what people should check to find out if it's flooded. So how useful are vehicle history reports to spot flooded damaged vehicles?
They can be helpful a lot, but most of the times they will have to file an insurance claim on it because it's a flooded vehicle. They normally do not work correctly after that, so they get a salvage title. So they will have that on their vehicle history report. But a lot of times, you get some places, they'll try to get it over on you. So just need to check stuff like water lines on that carpet. That's the main way you can tell. You can tell when that water rose up in there. And underneath the hood, you can normally tell on the engine parts, a lot of the compartments down there. You can tell whenever water's been, because you'll find dust and other abbreviations and stuff on other parts of it. And so down there it'll be kind of clean because water has been in there.
And why do you believe it's so important for people to check these? Is there any specific reason?
Just to make sure the vehicle's good. 9 times out of 10, if it was a flooded vehicle, it's never going to really work the same after that. I've had several of them come in through the shop and they ultimately just never work the same, especially with the electronics.
And so, speaking of electronics, what would you say would be like the long-term problems? Is it the electronic parts or is it something else that could really?
Yes, ma'am, mainly the electronic parts. Because I mean, you may find something where it's fine now, it's fine today, but then a week later, a month later, just with the corrosion and the water that happens and gets in between everything, the wires and the electronics, it will eventually fault out.
And how can buyers make sure they're buying from a trustworthy seller?
A lot of times you can Google reviews, stuff like that. Better Business Bureau, you can check that on whoever you're buying the vehicle from. And just a reputable dealer. You know, a lot of times, a lot of these used dealers, you have to watch them. They'll get those flooded vehicles because they can get them for cheap, and they'll try to get them in there and clean them up. So you just got to check that. Mainly just the history of it. Google, ask around. But yeah, just a reputable dealer mainly. You just always want to go through a reputable dealer.
And so, what else should people do if they think their car might have been damaged by flood?
If you think it may have been damaged by flood, definitely I would get the code scan on it. You can go to AutoZone a lot of times, or O'Reilly's, they'll do it for free a lot of times. Get those codes scanned on there, and a lot of times they'll tell you about a lot of faults that pop up on there. Especially if you see them in a lot of different areas on the vehicle, 9 times out of 10, that's a flood. Because if the vehicle was impacted and, you know, let's say the front bumper, you'd find just faults on the front bumper versus finding faults all over the vehicle.
And are there any protections for buyers who may accidentally buy a flooded, damaged vehicle?
I know they have a lemon law. You know, I've never known anyone. I know you can. You may have to go through the whole process of getting a lawyer and all that, so it may be time consuming and money consuming. But other than that, just do your background check on the vehicle and on the place that you're buying it, just to guarantee and make sure, because a lot of times once you leave that lot with it, it's yours, you're stuck with it.
And for you all specifically, have you all seen many flooded vehicles come in, and how many are there usually?
I've seen, normally I get maybe 1 or 2 a month. But that's whenever, you know, there's a storm or something like that has happened. If there's been no storm, no, I really don't see much. But here the past couple of months, we've had some big storms and a lot of rains. So I have had probably 3 flooded vehicles within the past 2 months.
And so what are the chances during these storms and floods that people may see more flooded vehicles for sale?
Yeah, it's also very possible. Whenever you see a lot of storms, a lot of hurricanes, stuff like that, weather events, that's whenever you'll normally see more influction of that. Because, you know, if it happens at the car lot or it happens somewhere, the dealers, they ultimately, that's no money on that, you know, so they like to make some money. So a lot of time, a reputable dealer is not going to do that. But someone that could be trying to get over on you, yeah, at that time of the year, whenever there's events like that, that's when you have to look out for it.
And is there any other tips or anything that or advice you'd like to give people when looking for a vehicle that they may not know is flooded or anything?
I say always just check that interior well. Make sure everywhere in the interior, check your doors, check the carpet, because if water has been in there, you will be able to tell it. I don't care how good you clean it, it's somewhere in that vehicle you will be able to see a water line. Outside of that, check that oil, because there could be water in that oil, and that's one of the more easier ways to tell.